time because a lot of these other guys went a little quick. I'm setting my timer at 20 minutes, so you'll be out here by 9. Okay. So, Todd, thank you for the intro, and most of all, thank you for nominating me. So a little bit about Todd. He worked as hard at coaching and being a sponsor for years. He put a lot of his own money into it and everything else that, just made our teams so much better. And he works that hard at John Schulte Repair. This is your plug for John Schulte Repair, so I get a free shine later. So John Schulte Repair, the owner of that store, he works his butt off there too. So just want to thank Todd, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer. So but I have to talk a little bit about it. I was going through my, I kept a couple, I was a little scrapbook a little bit, some of the stuff from the Ella John's team. And he came up with one game. I don't know if it was a game of practice or if it was before a game, but he handed out a sheet, and it's a hitting situational sheet for us. Because we had some great studs on our team, and they'd hit homers whenever they want, everything else. So Todd came up with a sheet, and it's situational. So it comes up and says, no Han Solos. It didn't say Han Solo, that was me. So no solo homers, okay? There's a guy in first, you make sure you hit behind. If you're 2 outs and there's 2 guys on, you can go ahead and hit a homer, because we were restricted to, I think back then, 6 homers, which they are now. So we had to be selective. The ball's coming a lot slower than you fast pitch guys, so we could kind of place a little bit better as far as when we went ahead. You guys had to rely on a good pitcher and so forth. But thing is, I found my sheet, and I know everybody else was looking at it, but all it did for me is it said, swing away. At least that's the way I read it. So, sorry, Todd. And they keep track of all these homers. I looked at it and I go, that's solo homers? That isn't. And it was. Okay. So, I also want to talk about, when we throw, I see my son. He plays ball now too, so it's great. I got to play with him a few years. But when we throw to third base, and we come in, and the guy's going from first to third, and what are you supposed to do? Not throw to third. Well, I did that once in a while. Okay? Then he'd be coming in, and he's going, hit the cutoff, hit the cutoff. And yes, so I thank you. Now I do hit the cutoff, but it's golfing, so that's good. Great friend. Thanks, Todd. I wouldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't for you. So, also want to thank many other of these people on the committee and the Hall of Famers that begged for me to be here tonight, and it worked. So, Ruben Keelan, Hall of Famer. I played softball with him up in Aberdeen last chance. Phenomenal guy, has been a friend for years. So thank him. Wrote a nice letter for me. I wrote it for him, but he submitted it. Gary, where are you at here? It's Gary Harrington. So thanks, Gary. I go to Pier. We state tournaments at Pier every year almost. So it was great. I'd see Gary there coming over from Huron, and it was just a pleasure to see him every time. So just that visit on every trip. Some of them went 0-2, and that wasn't the best trip, but those are other stories. So Jack Colback wasn't there tonight because he's got some beer distributor deal. I don't know what's up with that, this or beer distributor, but want to thank him for writing those letters of recommendation for me. And everyone that's collected a lot of information, John Erickson, he's Mr. Stats, so he collected a lot of information for us, and some other guys too. I want to thank all of them. So, but Mike, wow. We came to one of these meetings up in Watertown, and it was probably a third of these people. So you've grown this organization and this banquet every year. It's phenomenal. So you and your committee, congratulations. Also want to thank all the Hall of Famers that voted for me. So I got a lot of thanks tonight. So I want to thank the great players who played with me and against. I've got some against over here. I got some for. They got the better seats. So just want to say that we got 10 Johns players here tonight. That's phenomenal. Thank you. So, sorry, I said table of old Johns players. That's over here. Okay, so that's good. And many others that I can't mention, plus I can't remember them, so because I'm getting older. So, most of all, I want to thank my wife of 37 years. Married her when she was 10. Okay? So, surviving, and now I wrote down 100 hours. I'm going, hundreds of hours? No, it's thousands of hours. Going to the ballpark, traveling to the ballpark. We did, after the games, sit in the ballpark till about midnight over at Sherman Park. Those are good. And then even took a bus ride down to Texas once. No, Tucson, I'm sorry. But just, 3 kids, she grew at the Diamond. I mean, they grew up there. When we first came down here in 91, and this is years after I've been playing up in Aberdeen for 16 years. Came down here, 91, she's got a newborn and a 3-year-old. And they're at the Diamonds all the time. They never sat at home, we never babysitter. And she was always there supporting me, so thank you, love you. Now we get to, we were up in McQuaid's. So John's, we'd go up there, and his arch rival was Tharlson's. Huge. We'd always get the Friday night game. And then we'd go up there, huge tournament. We got probably 1,000, 2,000 people watching, I'm thinking. Might have been 100, but that's the way I viewed it. And here we're the next, we played that game, and I don't know if it was the liquor or whatever, but I got up. It was kind of my later years. I'm up to hit, and here I hear some lady from the Tharlsons saying, and I think it might have been the pitcher's wife, but she's saying, hey, this guy's an old guy. He's not a little gray hair. This guy's an old guy, he can't hit the ball. And my wife stepped up and said something for me. I can't repeat them, but she did step up and say something. So I want to thank, she's so supportive of me. And then she's very supportive, but then she'll come up back, and I'll come home that day and I've had a rough game, and I go, I started whining a little bit, and then she just said, yeah, but you sucked. I go, okay. So she puts me right down again. So, but most of all, we're traveling from Pierre. Pierre, it's never hot there. Okay, and no, never hot. And we get done with 6 games, I think, 5 or 6 games on a Sunday. I think we won it, but that doesn't matter. No, it didn't matter. Okay, so we won it, but we get to play 5 or 6 games because we did something stupid on Saturday and we lose a game. So we're now losers bracket. So we're going 1, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And it's hotter than heck, and I'm running in the outfield, and I had a tendency to cramp up. So we're riding home. And that time we had an RV we were riding it. And I didn't drive. We had a local doctor that was driving for me. It's good because we turn down, we head down to interstate, and we turn, and I can't move now because I'm cramping everything. I'm cramping this little muscle right here is cramping, so I can't move. So I'm sitting there like this in a chair, and we get over to the river, and here comes Chamberlain. One guy looks at me and he goes, hey, should we stop at the hospital and get an IV? And I go, okay, going, yeah, that'd be good. And my wife turns to me and she looks at me and she goes, if we stop and you get an IV, you will never play softball again. So I said, keep her going. So, that's a true story, you can't make that up. Yeah, she's up here now, so yeah, I did that. Welcome to my world. So, but, too grounded, I just had to tell that one, sorry, baby. I want to thank my kids. Tyler, he's playing ball now. Emily played ball. Tanner, we're teaching him how to play ball still. Okay, but we will. But really, you never have a choice. You have to be at the Diamond anyway, so that's who you guys. Okay, and another group I want to thank, because I saw Bobby back here. It was great seeing you, is the umpires. I want to let you know, I learned how to control my emotions because of you guys. All the shitty, bad calls you made at the plate. It wasn't you, Bob. Sorry, I pointed you out. It might have been Wheeler, it might have been some other ones here. Dewey Dolan's past, good friends. But I've got a lot of good friends that are in blue too. So, but I want to let you know that you do owe me a case of beer, because those bad calls forced me into hitting a pop-up for a strikeout. Now I owe a case of beer to these old farts over here in that stadium. So you do owe me some. So, but I got a lot of good friends in blue. So, all right. So I'm getting a little windy here, but I'm gonna keep it going. Todd talked about it. I played half my career in Aberdeen. Okay, big ball, Todd, is a 16-inch ball. One that's on a table is a 12. That's what big ball is. I started hitting big ball. That was where it was. I learned from some great guys in Aberdeen. It was just great. Then I went to 12-inch, There's some nights. So here's what we did in Aberdeen. I know this is different than Sioux Falls because my brother played in Sioux Falls. They were painting glass and everything. You know, I'm playing up there. We'd go at 7 o'clock. We're playing 12-inch at the South Complex. We're playing 12-inch at 7. We back-to-back people. I know it's something different in Sioux Falls. Back-to-back, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We're done by 9. We're drinking. And no, my wife followed me. We went and played 14-inch. We had to travel to North Diamonds. Aberdeen only takes 5 minutes, so we're good. North, we played at 9 and 10, got done at 11. So 4 games one night. And I'm talking to my brother, and they're suiting up their cleats. Well, I don't know if you call them cleats anymore, but uniforms on Tuesday for 1 game. They take them off, they go. Thursday, they're playing their 2nd game of the week, one night. So I said, I come back down here in 91. Finally, we get 2 games, one night. But what do? Hour off between. I go, what are you guys doing? Let's get them back to back so we can go to the parking lot or have some fun. Or I don't have to stretch anymore. So, Todd talked about my Shriner name. I wasn't, I shouldn't, I'm glad I said Shriner instead of something else. So, one thing I cherish the most about softball, and their nominees, or not nominees, all Hall of Famers came up here and talked about it, is friends. That's the biggest thing. I mean, good friends. And I've met a bunch of them for 44 years of me playing. You know, it's the friendships. I came from Aberdeen. I had a bunch of friends up there. Came down here to Sioux Falls. Long, year-round friendship. We do stuff all the time. I mean, for 11 years, we're doing stuff for the Johns team. Bowling or whatever it is. And, you know, then you get Johnny Erickson. Every picture we take, okay, Mr. Media, he is the master of Microsoft Paint. Okay, we had a picture taken, and in my living room, or in my kitchen, a few years ago, and it's T-Bone, and it's Johnny Olson. If you know Johnny, he's a little shorter anyway, but Johnny Olson, about 3 or 4 others. And the time we had the picture back to us, John Erickson took, well, now it's not paint, Johnny Olson was about 3 foot tall. And it's so funny. Then we had another picture taken, and here's Todd Anderson. Honey, I shrunk the kid. He shrunk his head. So his head was about the size of a softball set on top of it, and here's the rest of us over there. So it's phenomenal. I just don't want to make John mad. So that's
good plan.
And I have a lot of other stories. I'm not going to bore you because some are nodding. I see some of you older guys are nodding off already, and the younger guys are nodding. So, and most of my stories involve T-Bone and Erickson, so I don't know what the heck that was, but I am honored to be up here, to be chosen for Hall of Fame, so I thank you very much. Thanks, I want to give a call out to all the other Hall of Famers, and hope to see you tonight, so thank you. Thanks,